Wow, it's been a whole year since I got my 2021 FX Cruiser SVHO. Time has flown. So what do I think about it after a full year and 96 hours of riding time? Stay tuned. Hey everybody, this is Captain Frank with the Ship's Log, and now we are doing a year review of the 2021 FX Cruiser SVHO. Last year in 2020, it was August of 2020, the first day that dealerships were allowed to take orders for these, we put our order in. And we waited patiently, and in October of 2020, it was finally delivered. Since then, I've ridden this baby 96 hours. I've taken it all over the place, had it for a full year. So what do I think about it? So I'm going to go in several different categories and tell you honestly what I think about the machine. It's the things that I like, the things that I don't like, the things that I think maybe they could have improved on, and so on and so forth. So let's get started. Okay, so let's start with the easy stuff first. The way it looks. The color is badass. One of the reasons that I ordered the 21 model is because I absolutely loved the black with the gray trim. It just looks mean. And I cannot tell you how many times I have had people look at my ski when I'm out in the water and they go, man, that thing looks nice, or that thing looks bad. So definitely love the color scheme. Yamaha hit a home run with that this particular model year. It's kind of disappointing that every model year it seems that they change their color schemes for each of the models. So even though you can get a black one in 2022, it's not the gray trim. I think it's a blue trim if I remember correctly. And it still looks nice, but it doesn't look the same. And who knows how long it'll be before it comes around where you'll actually be able to get this color scheme again. But I definitely love the color. The styling is great. It's just a good looking machine. So that's the easy part. Downside of that, boy, you got to keep it clean, because when it gets dirty, you know it. You see it. You notice it. So you do have to keep it clean. You don't have to, but if you really want it to look its best, you want to keep it clean, because that's when it really shines. If it gets dirty, you notice that it's dirty. Let's talk performance. First of all, before we go into that, again, I'll remind you, people buy jet skis for different reasons. Some people, they want to do tricks, they want to jump waves, they want to have the bragging rights for having the fastest ski out on the water, and so on and so forth, and that's great. But I bought this because I simply wanted to go out and have fun. I want to do a lot of long distance trips with it, and yeah, sure, I enjoy the speed part as well. So, but I'm not your daredevil, if you will. I just want a good, fun machine. And this thing definitely fits the bill. It hits 70 just like that. I mean, it'll, if you're not careful and you hit the gas and you're not holding on, you're going to find yourself in the water behind the ski. It takes off like a rocket and it goes. You're not going to find a faster stock ski out there. You'll find others that are just as fast, but you won't find one that is faster. You might even find one that gets to 70 a little bit quicker, and that's fine. But when it comes to top speed, they're all the same. They're all governed. So you want to modify it. This is actually one of the easiest and best engines to modify if that's what you're after. That's not what I'm after, but if that's what you want to do, This is the best engine. The 1.8 liter Yamaha engine is the best engine for doing modifications, for getting more out of it. Even at top speed, it doesn't really feel like the machine is working that hard. So, and that's nice, because that speaks to longevity. It's going to last a lot longer because of that. So, performance is absolutely great. It handles extremely well. It's a big machine. I'm a big guy. That's why I got a big machine. It's a big machine, but for a big machine, it still handles pretty doggone good. I know some people, they'll go out and get one of these, and then they'll go get the Riva racing sponsons and put them on there so that it cuts even tighter, and so on and so forth. And that's fine. If that's what you're looking for, that's good. But I tell you, at high speed, and you take this thing into a right or a left turn, it seems like it has just that perfect amount of slide to it, where you're not catching the water and flipping yourself off, but at the same time, you still have a really, really good control of the machine. So I think it's a nice balance. I think they've done a really good job with that. So as far as economy is concerned, I remember one of the things I considered when I was looking at skis is whether I should get a supercharged ski or whether I should just get a naturally aspirated ski. Everything you hear says, oh yeah, you get a supercharged ski and man, it's just going to suck fuel down. It eats way more fuel than a non-supercharged, and you're going to regret it. Well, I got a supercharged ski, of course. And it's true. When you're sending it, when you got that thing wide open, it's drinking some fuel. But I'll tell you, when you are just cruising and you're going at a more conservative speed, it's not bad on gas at all. You can actually go quite a long ways. You have a nice long range, 100 miles or so, if you're being conservative with your speed. The downside is, or the difficult part is, when you're on something like this, it's kind of hard to be conservative with your speed. I mean, it's just so much fun. You just want to punch it and you want to go. But the capability is there for either one. It's really up to you as to which one you choose. As far as the features are concerned, I really like the display. The full color display, you can actually change the color scheme that you want on it as well. The touchpad works really well. It reacts to your touch perfectly. No issues with that at all. I love the fact that it has a cup holder right here. And you can have your drink right up here where you can get to it. You've got cleats right here so that you can actually tie off. If you have the limited version, or you get the limited version, you'll actually have cleats towards the stern as well. But you'll have cleats there toward about midship, or about the midpoint of the machine, which actually comes in handy when it comes to tying up the docks or putting fenders out and things like that. Really nice feature. The storage capacity is immense, and that is absolutely wonderful, because once again, one of the reasons I got this machine is I want to be able to do some trips with it. I want to do some long distance cruising, and a lot of times when you do that, of course, you've got to carry stuff. I actually fit a rolling duffel bag in this thing, enclosed, and I already had all the stuff in there on top of that, and it fit, and it was great. So it's got a lot of storage space. The compartment right in front of the driver's seat, the rider's seat, it's huge. I mean, you can put your cell phone, your keys, your wallet, you can put all kinds of stuff in there. And you got plenty of space. So that's really important when you're on a machine, especially if you want to do some long distance riding. You need to have a place to put stuff, and you've actually got that on this machine. The drains and the footwells are really cool. I have to be honest, you probably won't notice much of a difference when you're riding. If you're riding and a wave comes over the bow and it fills up your footwells, yes, those drains will drain that water out. But it doesn't drain it out extremely quickly. If you're sitting for a long period of time, it's definitely useful because, yes, that water is eventually going to drain out and your feet are not sitting there in water. But if you're riding along, chances are when you take off, that's going to get the water out of your footwells before the drains will. So just kind of riding around, maybe it doesn't make a difference. But if your machine is sitting, it's sitting outside and it rains, it's nice to know that that water's not going to be sitting in those footwells. Or if you're riding, you get water in the footwells, and you know you're just kind of sitting still for a while, knowing that it's eventually going to drain out. Actually, kind of works. It's kind of a good thing. I really like those. I also really like the ride system that Yamaha has on these machines. It really gives you ultimate control of your machine. You know, it handles very well forward, reverse, slow speeds. The ride system, the fact that you now have a throttle on your right side for your forward gears, you got, or not forward gears, but for going forward, and your throttle for going forward. And then on the left side, if you want to put it in reverse or put it in neutral, you can use that. You have to learn it, but it's very easy to learn. I mean, literally within 5 minutes, you're like, oh, okay, this is how it works. Got it. And at that point, it just becomes second nature when you're riding. And you can literally make it spin on a dime, turn it around. You can stop. You can go in reverse, and you can steer in forward in reverse. It works really, really, really well. And after just a few minutes of riding it, you've got it down, and you are good to go. So really good idea on that. They also have controls for slow speed maneuvering, such as when you're approaching a dock, or when maybe you're putting it on the trailer. They have options for like ultra slow speed maneuvering to do that. And you've got the cruise assist. So if you're riding long distances, which I do, once you set your speed, you can turn the cruise assist on. At that point, you don't have to worry about trying to hold the throttle at a certain position. You just grab it, hold on, and you're going to stay at that speed. So that works really well. It makes riding a lot more comfortable. And the fact that you can also nudge it up and down, using the up and down buttons, you can actually nudge it up a couple of miles an hour, nudge it down a couple of miles an hour, to kind of fine tune exactly what speed you want to go at. So that's really cool. I definitely really appreciate that. One of the things that I would improve, and actually I believe Yamaha has done this for 2022, is the speedometer is not extremely accurate. I think probably anybody that owns a Yamaha prior to a 2022 model, they probably already know this. But I found that the speedometer on the machine typically reads 2 or 3 miles an hour lower than what your actual speed is. Probably, I'm assuming that the speedometer is probably based on the RPMs that the engine is turning, and it's basically doing a calculation. This many RPMs, this pitch of your impeller, you should be going this fast. Well, of course, there's other things that control that. You know, how much weight do you have on the ski? What are the water conditions? So on and so forth. So it's pretty much guessing at your speed, and it's not totally accurate. My understanding on the 2022s, you actually have GPS built in, so that your speedometer will be a lot more accurate. It'll be dead on. That's not going to be a concern. Again, unless you're out there doing a piston match with somebody trying to claim you have the fastest ski, doesn't really matter that much, but it could matter a lot to you. So that's the one thing I want to make sure I mention. How about the ride? Really, really comfortable ski to ride. One thing I really like is the seats. You've got some people call it the tiered seating, some people call it the stadium seating, but whatever you want to call it, it's really nice because it gives you a really nice level of back support. It also makes it really nice if you've got a second person riding with you, and they're sitting behind you. They're not staring at your back. They actually are raised up a little bit, and they can actually see over your shoulder, and they can actually see where you're going as well. So that's kind of a real nice feature. I know some people do prefer the flatter seat, but I prefer the seat that comes with the FX Cruiser, because it works a lot better for long distance. It also works a lot better if you have a second rider. One of the things that I probably would improve on a little bit And actually, again, this is something else that Yamaha has improved on for 2022. It is a bit of a wet ride. So if you're in perfectly smooth water, you're not getting wet at all. You can just send it full throttle. You're not getting wet. But if you get into some chop, that you do sometimes get a little bit of spray in your face. Again, if it's 90 degrees outside, you're probably enjoying that. But if you're riding in some cooler weather, you probably want to avoid that. Now on this machine, what I was able to do successfully is I would just use the trim feature and trim up a little bit. That would pretty much take care of it. I wouldn't have to worry about that. 2022, Yamaha has changed the ride plate that they put on these machines, which actually will dry out the ride just a little bit. So I don't think we'll have that problem on those machines. But if you have a 2021 or earlier, or you're thinking about getting a 2021 or earlier machine from somebody, and you hear about that, yep, that is an issue. Again, you're not getting soaked, you're not getting extremely wet, but you might get a little bit of spray when you get into choppy water. So you hit that trim button, trim the nose up just a little bit, and it typically does take care of that. Okay, so what about maintenance? Well, first of all, I got 96 hours on this machine. I've had it for a year. So I've changed the oil twice so far. It's actually about to get another oil change, and it's about to get a spark plug change as well. But in that 96 hours, absolutely nothing has gone wrong. Nothing. I've not had to fix anything. I've not had to take it back to the dealer for anything. It's just run flawlessly. And of course, that's what you would expect. That's what you want. You go out and spend your hard-earned money on a machine, whether it's something that's for fun or whether it's something that you absolutely need. You spend your money on it, you want it to work. And that's exactly what this thing has done. It has just worked and not had an issue. If you've watched the oil change video that I did earlier this year, you'll see changing the oil is easy. It's easy to do it yourself. There's no reason you have to pay somebody $200 and $250 to do it, unless that's just what you want to do. Changing the spark plugs is easy. Actually, when I do the spark plug change in a couple of weeks here, I will do a video on that, so you'll be able to see how to do the spark plug change. It's actually easy as well. It's getting inside the engine compartment, or getting to stuff inside the engine compartment is pretty simple. So you can get to the battery pretty easily. You can get to everything you need to for the oil change. You can get to everything you need to for the plug change. It's simple stuff to do. It's not hard to get to. So if you're one of those people that likes to do maintenance on your own, you like to do things yourself, or you want to learn how to do it yourself, you'll find that it's pretty easy. It's not going to be a problem at all. Obviously, I am looking forward to a lot of continued, trouble-free hours on this machine. I've talked to a lot of people who have had Yamahas for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. And, they've got 100, 200, 300, 400 or more hours, and they've all said, not a problem. I haven't had an issue. I take care of it, and I use it. And it's been great. So I'm definitely looking forward to the same thing with this machine right here. Is there anything that I would change on this machine? Well, a couple of them I have already mentioned. Speedometer, like I said, is not highly accurate. Yamaha's putting GPS on their newer models. That takes care of that. Now, in my case, not because of the speedometer not being totally accurate, but for other reasons, I actually have installed a Garmin unit on mine. I actually did a video on that about a month ago or so. So you can see how I did that. But so that has GPS on it. So and that's actually how I was able to compare my actual speed, my true speed, with what the speedometer on my Wave Runner says. So big deal for me? No. Probably wasn't even a big deal before I put my Garmin unit on there. But that's something that I would change, and Yamaha is doing that. I also mentioned the ride plate, the ride being a little bit wet. that's something that Yamaha is also doing. The only other thing that I think I would change, and this is really minor, but when you go to unlock the machine, most of you are probably aware nowadays you don't really have a key for a wave runner or a PWC. You actually have a code that you have to enter to unlock the machine so you can start it. Yamaha has the way you enter the code is by you use the touchscreen and you scroll up and down on the series of little combination wheels, kind of like a combination lock, a lot of combination locks that you see. And that works. It works, you know, but I think I would probably prefer that it be a keypad that you punch in. You just punch your code in that way. It's a lot easier. It's a lot quicker. Maybe there was a reason that Yamaha did not do it that way. But, you know, every time I do it, I'm like, wow, a keypad would be a lot easier rather than having to scroll up and down between the numbers on each of these different combination wheels. But again, minor thing. But I would probably change that as well. Is there anything else I would change? I don't think so. I absolutely love this machine. I have had so much fun with it. We're definitely planning on having a lot more fun. And of course, as I do that, I'll be bringing this stuff to you. So what do you guys think? If you've got one of these, or maybe you have an older one, maybe you've got a 2022 on order, maybe you've got something else, you got a CD, whatever it is. What do you think about the machine you have? What would you change, if anything? What do you like? What do you not like? What do you like or not like about this machine if you've got one of these? I would be interested in hearing what people have to say about that. But as for me, I absolutely love it. I definitely feel like I bought the right machine, and I definitely wouldn't buy a different one. So if you have not already, please like the video. It really does help me out. Also, please subscribe so anytime I do post new videos, you can actually be notified as to when they're going live. Thank you so much again for watching. Thank you for your support. And thank you for all the comments that you give as well. And definitely am open to whatever you guys have to say. So until next time, this is Captain Frank signing out. Happy riding.